What's up, everybody? My name is Steven Sanchez, and today we're going to illustrate the human anatomy. We're not doing any animals or creatures just yet. Let's focus on the anatomy and how simple to start the process to then get into the hardcore stuff. Drawing the anatomy, that is. All right, we're back. Let's go check this out and see what we can do. If you guys saw the last video on drawing shadows and detail, it's pretty much going to apply into the same structure right here, because what's going to happen is we're going to draw in a very cartoon fashion in order for you to understand how all this stuff works. In the beginning, you guys, anybody learning how to illustrate, you're like, I don't want to draw in a cartoon fashion. You need to. It's going to help you. It's what puts everything together, because once you understand the simplicities of it, this is going to be your go-to whenever you feel you can't process what you're trying to do, right? So the focus is how to go ahead and have fun with the sketch and the layouts first. See how easy this was? Just a few bubbles. Next thing you know, you have yourself an action figure on paper. So let's go ahead and draw the next one. This way, you can go ahead and draw whatever you want. Cocky attitude, right? Dude's looking maybe cross-armed, like so. Arch, because we've spoken about arches before. Bring those legs back. Bring that arch out. And if you guys haven't picked up a book called A Guide to Life Drawing by George Bridgman, talks about those arches, right? He's really good at in explaining as to all of those arcing points that make up the anatomy. So when you flip it, you can see how nice those arcs back and forth, right? So when you look at your arm, there's an arc going down that way. When you look at the anatomy of the body, you have an arc. You don't have it straight, because if not, it's just gonna look weird when the character is standing. Understand? So if everything is straight, like stick figures, it's super stiff, and you don't want that, because then that's when you're gonna be looking at your stuff saying, why does my artwork look stiff? And it's because you're not having any arcs/arches. Let's go ahead, look at the simplicity of all of this stuff, and it just took, what, less than a minute to put together? So imagine, if this stuff takes less than a minute to put together, and you bring it down in opacity, or you use your eraser, your kneaded eraser, if you're doing it on paper, traditional. Everything I'm gonna show you here, you can do on paper as well. You create a new layer, or on the paper itself. We're gonna start in the midsection. This way you can see the simplicity of drawing. The leg, a little bit of the calf. A few lines just puts everything together. You don't have to add tons of lines. You don't have to know every single muscle. The whole point of this is to get you going with simple shapes. And if you can't figure out the simple shapes, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not wanting to learn. You're wanting to just do it your way. I'm like, your way can take you a very long time. Heed the points that I'm giving you. It'll help you. If you don't like what I'm telling you, then fine. Find another artist that can give you probably better points than I can. But I'd be hard pressed for you to do that, because I'm giving you the simplicities of it. A lot of artists will just go in and just start to over-explain things. And the whole point of this is to use shapes. Boop, 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 boop. You can leave the booping sound out. Now, do you need to understand where all the anatomy muscles are? Yes. I would definitely say get yourself an anatomy book, or get yourself a well-built toy. Nowadays, a lot of action figures, they have good anatomy on them. A lot of creators do it with the CGI, that's how old I am, and they'll have a nice little 3D image that they've put together because they already know the anatomy, and just use that as a reference point. Maquette. Boop. Okay, so the next part of this is Look at how simple I put everything together. Now, how are we gonna make a good character? Well, we're gonna focus on the simplicity of let's say a half body shot. So if it's a half body shot, then using your shapes, we're gonna go ahead and build something very simple. And once again, things like this, you could do a line, you could do a little triangle, or you can actually draw the neck inside. When you throw down those confident lines, that's what you want, is to have your piece look confident. Where your line work is just right there. It's showing everything right off the bat. It doesn't have to be great. Once again, this is the stage not to be great. This is the stage to illustrate. That is trademark, copyright me. So we're getting back into business here, right? Boom, boom, right? And if I'm drawing straight in, and drawing straight in is fun because it doesn't have to be perfect. You're drawing straight in. So if he's, I don't know, he's holding a stick of butter. So he's holding a stick of butter, then there it is, right? Stick of butter, you know, or it's a broken knife or whatever. The whole point, you're drawing straight in just to get the idea out of your head. And it's not perfect, because the next stage is when you start to perfect it. Or here's a good idea over here. I erase it, and we're gonna put his hand on his waist, and we're gonna go ahead and shape everything out. And now we're gonna erase the head and bring the character a bit further down because I'm missing space. And in my head, I'm seeing him being very cocky and laughing like, ha 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 ha, I won, right? Let's say it's some dude from the 1700s and they have curls. Ha ha. Big broad shoulders, big trapezius muscle. Boom. Bring out my pencil lead a little bit thicker. And at this point, as you can see, I'm erasing shapes because now that I have somewhat of the idea in my head now onto paper or the computer screen, it's easy for me to go in and reshape and retool what the gesture is and what I'm really truly looking for. See that? So now it looks a lot better than what I had before, which was a very stiff looking character. Now we have something a bit more stoic, a bit more cocky, and arcing his back right there. Start erasing and looking, and then of course flipping. When you flip, you get to see if there's any things that's out of the norm. And there we have it. So now simple shapes gets you to this stage. And it's nothing great to look at. Once again, it just has to be what makes you want to get better. And you have a starting point. With all of this information, you're going to be able to draw more and more and more, keeping the shapes, keeping the shadows, and keeping your sanity, because you don't have to draw like Joe Schmo that you saw in a comic book and try to draw the detail work like I used to do back in the day. Open up a comic book and I would copy images onto paper to try to understand why that looks so good. And how can I get my pencil work to look as good as the work that I've seen on paper? That's what all this is about. Keep those shapes simple, have a lot of fun with it. And the best part of this whole scenario is when you imagine it first and you throw it down as your first attempt, it's probably going to be real bad. But then the fun part is putting it together. And I think that's what makes the creator slash artist into this, is because we like puzzles. And for us, this is a massive puzzle. And you have to be somewhat insane to dive into this type of world. But it is what it is. You're having fun and you like to put puzzles together. So this is the best puzzle you can utilize when either writing or drawing. Writing is another puzzle. We'll leave that for another time. So here it is, guys. Hopefully this helps out. And I'll leave it there. Till then, be good, be safe, and keep sketching.